So you're 24 years old and you
S
woke up one morning convinced you might be losing your mind.
I did not know if I was having a psychotic break. I didn't know if I'd end up in a psychiatric hospital or a
Okay.
mental ward.
I always said you were crazy anyway, and you had
What
you had
the
you
hell?
had no one to tell, right? No one.
No one. I had to go to work and pretend everything was fine, while inside I'm thinking, "This is it. This is how this is how it happens. This is how you lose your mind." I had a dream, I had an experience. We'll call it a sleep state experience, okay? Because to call it a dream means like it wasn't real. In this experience, something conveyed truth to me, not gradually, but instantly,
All right.
telepathically. And when I woke up, everything I believed was wrong.
It pulled the rug out on all your beliefs. So what really happened on the mountain?
I was on the mountain with God. Okay, so I'm on the mountain with God, and the truth of everything was revealed to me. Now, let me back up and say, I was a happy Catholic,
All right.
going to church every week. I
All
wasn't
right.
looking or searching for anything. So to have this experience on the mountain with God, where was conveyed to me, all
Right.
truth, the truth about, heaven, hell, past lives, karma, reincarnation, spiritual laws, it was all transmitted instantly, telepathically, up on this mountain.
So,
In that experience, something conveyed the truth to me, not gradually, but instantly and
mhm.
telepathically. So when I woke up, everything I believed was I was doubting. I was doubting everything I believed. My entire belief system was ripped from underneath me.
Everything really you've been taught growing up, really.
Yes, my faith, my religion, my understanding of reality, all of it gone in an instant. I remember thinking, what just happened? What did I experience? Did this really happen? And was it true?
And you really didn't know. You didn't know.
I didn't know, and I did not know, but I knew two things. I knew I could not unsee it, whatever I just learned and everything
Mhm.
downloaded. I couldn't go back to not knowing. And I knew to be quiet and say nothing to no one.
Why? Why quiet?
Well, I knew that everyone comes from their own personal perspective. Everyone's got an axe to grind and everyone's got
Right.
a motive, personal motive. Not only that, but how can someone tell you something about an experience you've had? Just like being in love. Only you know if you're in
Right.
love. Someone
Mhm.
else can't tell you if you're in love, and someone else can't confirm if you're in
Right.
love.
Right.
Nor can you convey to somebody else how
Right.
you know
That's
you're
right.
in love.
When you're in love, you either know it or you don't.
So it was kind of like that. Nothing made sense anymore. The
Mhm.
framework that I used to understand the world is shattered, and I had no replacement for it.
Mhm.
Just the void where my reality used to be.
All right. Hmm. That's really strange and interesting. So you really wake up crying.
So I wake up crying. I can't stop. I mean, 2 hours of tears,
Right.
Michael. Confused and so uncertain. And that was what was so terrifying, the
Okay.
uncertainty.
Terrified of what?
The uncertainty of
Okay.
not knowing what end was up. The uncertainty of not knowing what was real. I had to get myself together
All right.
and get out the door and pretend everything was fine. And
All
I
right.
thought, I had to function while possibly losing my mind. So that was really tricky.
Okay. So really that kind of makes sense in a lot of ways because you had your whole upbringing and teaching and all your role models and everything that you learned, everything you believe in, everything you think is reality,
Mhm.
which was passed on by parents and grandparents and the whole system suddenly ripped away completely.
Completely. There's where the uncertainty was.
Okay.
And it took an entire year to reconcile this. I'm walking into work. I just played like everything was
Right.
normal,
So you get to work and you're falling apart inside, really.
completely falling
Okay.
apart. And I got to sit at the desk and someone's saying, like, "Hey, how's your weekend?" And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, good. And how about yours?" And inside I'm thinking, shit, I don't even know if I
Right.
should be here
Right.
right now.
Okay. Did anyone really notice
No,
outwardly?
no,
No.
no way. No.
Okay.
I covered it up. You wouldn't know anything was going on with me. I was so convincing at being normal. I just knew that I had to live in two worlds, and that was my new reality.
Okay.
Okay, that's the bottom line. I had to live in two worlds, and I had to deal with this, and I had to reconcile this. And
Okay.
we had just started dating. I couldn't even tell you any of this.
Right.
And so this was my new reality. But as the weeks went by, you know There was one thing that saved my ass, and it's the only thing I knew to do. Every single day, throughout the day, I actually had to ask for a sign every waking hour for an entire year. That was the only thing that kept me going. I knew I didn't need a hospital. What are they gonna tell me? Nothing.
Right.
Nothing about my
Mhm.
experience. I knew to talk to no one, like I said, axe to grind, motive,
Right.
their own experience.
Right.
So someone can't tell me about an inner experience I had. I knew to be quiet and figure this thing out myself. And it was really a matter of self-preservation and desperation. This
Mhm.
is this is how bad it was. And the only thing I knew to do was ask for a sign.
Right.
But I was so shaky and off balance that I had to ask, like I said, every waking hour for an entire year.
Yeah, okay. So you asked for a sign every waking hour because you were so uncertain and shaky. Like, what's the sign look like? Or what kind of sign did you ask for? How did you know it would appear?
I had no clue. That's the only thing my inner voice, my intuition knew to do. Ask for a sign. And when I would ask for a sign, nothing specific.
Mhm.
I was imploring God to give me a sign to let me know I was okay.
Mhm.
What happened was real. Everything that was shared with me was the truth. And so I would literally be begging for a sign, and it would be random. A rainbow would appear out of the
Right,
sky.
right.
I would overhear a conversation between two people.
I got you.
So it was totally random and nonsensical.
Right.
But in those moments, it's exactly what I needed
Yeah.
to keep me going.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
So
I can see, that's kinda like really you're lost in a city and you're looking for street signs, and as they start appearing, it leads you to the next street, to the next street, and it's, always reminds me of that song, "Lord, give me a sign." I mean, you're really just looking for any kind of guidance.
so I kept functioning, normal. Eat lunch with coworkers, talk
Right,
about normal things. And this is what my new life looked like. This outer and this inner world, back and forth, getting
right.
through 1 hour, the next hour, the next hour.
Okay. When did the signs
Oh,
actually start?
immediately. I
Okay,
needed signs right then.
okay.
It was a desperation and despair and self-preservation at this point. I didn't even know what I was asking. Like I said, just show me something. Show me
Right.
I'm not going insane. I need something to hold on to. I was literally begging.
Okay, so what happened?
A rainbow would appear out of the blue.
R
I'd overhear a conversation, and something somebody said would immediately, calm me down.
Okay, so that kinda kept you balanced at
It
that point.
it did, it saved my life, and that's not an exaggeration. That moment, the sign was the difference between me going to the psych ward and me
Right.
making it through another hour. It gave
Mhm.
me just enough certainty to survive
Right.
in the moment.
So you really kept asking so you could keep balanced.
Yes, I kept asking every waking hour for a year because I had to. Without those signs, I wouldn't have made it. No way. No way. It was such a different reality from what
Right,
I grew up with.
right.
And that's why the dichotomy, the cognitive dissonance was huge. And it was really about show me the truth and show me I'm not crazy.
So and what happened exactly?
Every single time within 5 minutes, a
O
sign. And it was really about survival. Like without oxygen, without those signs, I would not have made it.
okay, so give me an exact example if you got one.
Well, I'm at work. I'm just like, show me something. And
Right.
my coworker, who I barely knew, comes over and she tells me about her sister's spiritual awakening. So it was stuff like this, stuff out of the blue that happens that kept me
Mhm.
going in those moments.
And, you gotta ask what are the odds of that? Billion to one shot?
No doubt, impossible.
Yeah.
But it happened and it kept me going for an entire year. It
Mhm,
gave me that extra moment of survival, that extra hour of sanity, and this is how life was.
mhm. It was really connecting the invisible to the visible and letting you know that when you go down that avenue of knowing and you open that door to the unknown, there's really a connection the whole time, but it may be earth shattering because the connection isn't what you would call grounded in outward events and outward beliefs and all what you already know. It's something totally different, and it was keeping you connected to letting you know that's how it happens. Yeah,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
knowingness,
Yeah,
knowingness.
absolutely, and, I'd get a sign, I'd feel okay for an hour, then the panic would come back. I need another sign, then I'd have to ask
Yeah.
again.
Mhm.
I was completely dependent on signs. I didn't care, the alternative was insanity. So
Mhm.
I asked every hour for an entire year, hundreds, thousands by the end of the year. I mean, can
Right.
you imagine? All we have to do is the math. If it was every hour,
Right.
every waking hour, times
Signs. Yeah.
365 days. So, couple thousand anyway. Eh,
That's interesting, especially in the sense that signs are really already everywhere. They're
mhm,
everywhere as we begin to wake up. And consequently, are there millions of signs? Yeah, they are, as I start to notice them. And that's what was happening with you. You were tapping into that knowingness
mhm,
of seeing the signs that were giving you guidance
mhm.
so you didn't go off into the psych ward unbalanced completely. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You said that nicely. I needed proof. I needed that data and that confirmation
Yeah.
that it
Compliment.
was real, but I needed it
Mhm.
that often because
Right.
that's back to the instability,
Right.
So, like you asked, was I testing myself, trying to prove that I wasn't delusional? No. No, I knew I was cool, but I just didn't know which truth to
Right.
believe, and
Right.
that's where it all came from, you know?
Right.
Firm, like I said, it was a confirmation. The whole
Right.
year was about confirmation
Right. Right.
through signs.
So, what did you find?
Well, for 11 months, I still wasn't sure. That's why I had to keep asking, you know?
Mhm.
But I had so many signs showing me, Nicole, you're fine. Nicole, there's nothing going on. That was real. God loves you. You are fine. Everything that was
Mhm.
transmitted is reality. It's just an expanded reality from your prior knowledge base. It
There
was
you
just
go.
more. It wasn't like in opposition, it was just more.
Right.
It was like, this little view, and now I've got the whole picture.
Right.
And there it was. That's why it was like, what end was up?
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, your awareness, your total awareness
Hmm.
was expanded. It's like having a view of looking around when you're in the middle of a jungle to see what things look like. And if in Vietnam, I used to jump in a chopper and go up and look back down and go, "Oh my God, what an expanded view! I'm looking at something totally different." That's what really happened with you. That little tiny belief system you
Hmm.
had, that little world, and it's a little world 'cause it's all local and it's the way people see things and they pass it on to you. Suddenly, that was just dramatically expanded. You were taken up into a spacecraft, you're looking back down on your world going,
Yes.
"Holy shit."
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, and that's mind-blowing. It's whether you can handle that. So, what happened?
I'd realized I'd gone 4 hours without asking for a sign.
Yay, 4 hours, long time, long time. Yep, okay.
Like I said, every hour for months. And
Right,
now, my entire day was literally structured around asking and receiving signs, my survival system. Then one afternoon, I noticed it's like 3 p.m. and I
mhm.
hadn't asked for a sign since 11.
And what did you feel?
Relief,
Okay.
relief. Like, wow, where did it go? Where was all the uncertainty?
Mhm.
Wait a minute. This is finally leveling out.
You leveled up, as they say. That's your new view of the world.
Yes,
So
yes.
the big shift actually happened. The big earthquake, and then it
Yes,
shifted, and you were at
yes.
a new spot.
Yeah, the desperation stopped, the
Alright.
hour-to-hour survival mechanism, it stopped being necessary. I didn't need the signs.
Right,
I came into full knowingness.
right.
It was like my nervous system finally accepted
Alright,
everything
right,
as real, but not like accepting it. I I had true conviction.
right.
8 billion people could have said no, and it wouldn't have mattered at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah, when you know, and that's what happened, I think, with you.
Yes, I stepped into such a level of certainty after a
Right.
year of signs every hour. You talk about rock solid. I mean, and it stayed with me. I mean, that's when I was 24 years old, you know?
Mhm.
So we're talking 30 years,
Right.
our whole relationship.
So at that point, you're really the knowingness when you know, like you said, you
Mhm.
know, and you stepped into a new state of consciousness is what it is, I would say, a way of looking things. Suddenly, that's your new state of consciousness. And suddenly, that's where you're living. You're much more aware than you
Yes.
used to, and you knew it.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
the deal. All 8 billion people could say otherwise, and you'd say bullshit. I
Yeah.
know that I
Exact
know.
yeah.
That's something. Okay.
So so yeah. So, like, my nervous system finally accepted everything is real.
Okay. So you accepted what
That
specifically?
something real was happening,
All
that I
right.
wasn't losing my mind,
All
that
right.
I was rock solid, that I could trust myself,
Right.
that I was going to survive and move way beyond because of all the knowledge, the wisdom, and the secrets that were shared with me.
Okay, and from that moment on
From that moment on, the crisis ended. Not
all right.
gradually, suddenly. One day I was drowning, the next day I wasn't. It was the 11th and the 12th month fighting for my sanity. And suddenly
Mhm.
I didn't have to fight anymore. I was safe. I was cool. I was certain.
Okay.
And, every time I followed it, it was right.
All right.
Every time I ignored it, I was wrong.
Right. Got it. So you really stepped into the knowingness finally.
Yes,
Period, the end.
yes.
So after you survived that year, then what happened?
Well, normal life. I'd survived something, I'd come back from the edge.
Right.
And I never wanted anyone to go through that ever. Ever, never, never.
So you told people about it. Okay.
Well, eventually, but it was years.
All
It
right.
was years. But I knew that we needed to build a system
Right.
around this so people could have these tools for desperation, for self preservation, and for
Mhm.
foolproof knowingness. People started asking, how do you make decisions so well? And I seem so certain about things. And I realized what I'd learned during
Right.
that survival
Right.
year, the system of asking and receiving guidance.
Mhm.
This thing was real,
Right.
not just for survival, but for like everyday life because of the other experiences we've had with the license plate
Mhm.
and the book falling off the shelf and being ghosted and the dreams and the answers.
Right. All
So
right.
it wasn't just for me, but the whole point was to bring this because you had your own experiences to bring this system
Right.
to the world because who knows who else is losing their mind or in the dark.
Right.
And that's the mission. DGI exists because, you know, I don't want another person to suffer like I suffered. And no one else has to. They don't have to fight for their sanity.
And that's the mission really. So that's the whole mission. Yeah.
It is. It is.
So I want to bring this back to when you're 24 years old, you wake up and your worldview is shattered. So really, you have no idea what's happening, and you're convinced you might be schizophrenic, and you're completely alone. Right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
hmm
So what would you tell that person? What would What would you tell her?
I would tell her, you're going to be fine, but it's going to be the hardest thing you're ever going to go through. But you're going to use these tools
Mm,
while you're questioning your sanity every single day for a year.
right.
And you're going to be alone and you're going to be desperate, but you're going to have such gifts come at the end of that year that you're going to make it. And on
Okay.
the other side, you're going to know something, not believe something.
Right.
You're going to know something and you're going to have such a system to navigate your
Right.
life that never fails you. And you're never going to have to guess at anything again.
I mean, what a gift is that? That's pure gold. You're going to know everything, not guess, believe, have hope. And that's why really you built this system. That's why you put the modern day mystery school together so people could have the tools
Yes.
for
hmm
knowingness to know 100% of the time, know about my career, my relationship, my finance, whether I should move or not. No one knows anything. They go, how do you know? Well, when you know, you know.
Yeah.
And it's really pure gold.
Yes. Yes.
So,
And so no one has to spend a year in silence and people don't have to question the things that they're wondering about, or whether they're losing their mind so they can access their internal guidance system. I had to discover this thing all alone and confirm it all alone and figure out how this
mhm.
thing works. But that way, they can survive, they can thrive. It's not just about knowing, it's about decision making, it's about foresight and knowing, getting a peek around the corner and changing outcomes.
Right.
So, my experience turned into this nonprofit organization, Divine Guidance
Mhm.
Institute, although we just launched, last October, but this whole school of how to learn how to
Right.
decode and use your internal guidance system for survival and everyday living, not just the big stuff,
Right.
but the little stuff.
Little stuff. How to sidestep adversity, how to dodge a bullet, how to know it's coming because you already see around the corner
Mhm.
what you need to do.
Yeah.
And it's like
Mhm.
being a prophet 24/7.
Mhm.
I mean, people have no, that's why it's called a mystery school.
Mhm.
This stuff isn't taught anywhere. And that's why we put the mission together to put it out there for you to teach dream science intuition as a form of knowingness because it's always there. It's not like I have to go to Tibet to find it. It's right there. It's already speaking to me. And we teach you how to hear the voice, how to listen, how to pay attention on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And that is knowingness. It is priceless.
And it's not even about belief system
No.
because it doesn't matter if you consider it, call it God, call it the universe, call it Holy Spirit, call it your higher self. The bottom line is there is a force,
Yep.
a higher force, even
Yep.
if it is within you, simply your higher self.
Right.
That's your internal guidance system, that compass, and no one has been taught to use it.
To use it.
No. So that's really what this story is about. And DGI, the whole mission's about teaching everyone how to use.
How to use the Force. And, I'll say this,
Mhm.
it sounds silly, but in Star Wars, and then there's a bunch of Star Wars movies, they got it right. It's the
Mhm.
Force. And people who worked with the Force, and they could foresee around the corner what was coming because they worked with the Force, they were in contact,
Yeah.
and they paid
Right.
attention and listened to it.
Mhm.
And that's what we're teaching, how to step into your own power and contact the Force
24/7.
24/7.
How cool is that? And it's
Yeah,
free.
that's free.
I mean, what could be more
Yeah.
perfect? S
The Force does not send you a bill, all right?
No, it does not. And I think, let's see, is this the end? Let's see. Hey, thanks for asking the hard questions. And thanks so much for making me relive that terror because
Yeah,
but that's what people need to understand. It wasn't a spiritual awakening. This was a survival story.
yeah,
And out of the survival, something real was born.
yep. So Dr. Nick spent 1 year asking for signs every hour. She spent a year terrified she might literally lose her mind. And she spent a year fighting for her sanity, literally fighting for it. And she survived. And the signs weren't spiritual, they were really psychological and physiological oxygen. The guidance system wasn't a belief, it was actually a lifeline. And now thousands of people have access to what she had to discover all by herself, all alone. If you're questioning yourself right now, if you're afraid of, you might be losing your mind, well, if you need certainty and you don't know how to find it,
Mhm.
there is a way. This is for you. You really don't have to survive
No.
all alone. Don't have to do that. Nope.
No. And actually, we built the school, but the bottom line, why come hang with us for 40 days, do the 40-day state shift, and life will never look the same. We're going to reset your radar, do a biometric reset with the tools
Mm.
during the 40-day state shift. And it's virtual. So no, you don't have to hang with us for 40 days, literally. But life will never look the same. And we're going to restore that signal because right now it's offline. The signal's offline, folks. Trust me. And we're going to get it back online.
We'll turn it back on for you, give you the key for turning it on. And here's the bottom line. You will know. You'll know you've stepped into a
Mhm.
new universe.
You're gonna know on day one. Things are gonna shift on
Yep.
day one of the 40-day state
Yep.
shift. You'll feel the vibrational shift, the state of consciousness shift.
Trust your gut and save your ass.